Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. My name is Hoong Bui and I'm half of Gigafy Work, where we support purpose-driven leaders and teams transform their approach to work so that they can make the desired impact without the unnecessary stress and exhaustion. So you notice that today I'm by myself. Angela's been traveling and now she's feeling a little bit under the weather. So I'm doing this alone so that she can have a little bit of time to recuperate and hopefully can join me for our next video. So today what we're going to do is we're diving into the art of protecting your focus time. So creating those kind of more sacred blocks on your calendar that allow you to dive into some deep work. So the first things first, let's get clear on why this is important to you. What difference will it make for you if you have more focus time? What difference will it make for your team, your business, your family? So for me, for example, protecting my focus time is actually a very significant shift in the way that I work. It's a shift from being reactive to being strategic and intentional. It's shifting from letting my calendar dictate my day to feeling like I'm the one who's in control and being able to shape my day so that it works for me, my business, and my family. It's also shifting my identity from being that person that's constantly working but not feeling like I could ever get ahead to being someone who is intentional, focused, and calm in the way that I work. So if you're also ready to make that shift, let's dive into the strategies. Now, the first question you might have is how much time should you set aside for focus work? And of course, the answer varies depending on the nature of your work and your organizational norms. Ideally, we recommend that you think about setting aside about 20 to 40% of your time for focus work each week. That means if you're working a typical 5-day work week, then you need to have at least 1 to 2 days, full days per week for work that requires some deep thinking. Another way to think about this is for a typical work day of about 8 hours, then at least an hour and a half to 3 hours should be protected for focus work a day. Now, depending on where you're at and the environment that you're working in, this may feel impossible at this point. Many of us are stuck in endless meetings every day, leaving very little to no time for any work, let alone deep work. So let's talk about 3 strategies that we know will help you protect that focus time. So the first strategy is to start declining meeting. Now, if you're here watching this video, chances are your days are already packed with meetings that you feel you cannot get out of for the next 2, potentially 3 weeks. So let's take a look at that schedule first. Start by auditing every meeting in your calendar, and don't do this by yourself. Sit down with someone that you trust will challenge you. This person could be your boss if you have that nice open rapport where you're comfortable challenging each other and being really honest with each other. Or it could be a trusted colleague or a coach. This is something that we do with our clients, and I can tell you it makes a huge difference to have another person go through this with you. Every client that I did this with told me that they couldn't have made those decisions on their own before. So sit down with someone you trust and review every meeting in your calendar for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Take a look at the meeting and answer the question, which meetings can you decline, delegate, or reschedule? For those meetings that you feel you absolutely cannot decline, delegate, or reschedule, ask yourself what would really be the impact if you were really sick and cannot attend those meetings. Asking yourself this question really help you understand the true urgency and the impact of you not being there for the meeting. Also ask yourself which meeting can be shortened, or if you have recurring meetings in your calendar, are they still necessary? Are they still happening at the right frequency? So in my experience, a lot of recurring meetings are used to provide updates to make sure everything stay on track for a particular project. But actually, everybody is so busy with having so many meetings in their calendar that they're actually not making very much progress. So sometimes finding an asynchronous way to provide project update, like using tool like Asana or Monday.com, or just simply asking your team to provide a written update in a Teams chat could free up some time so that people can actually make some progress on their work. The other thing that I observe with recurring meeting is that sometimes you need people to come to have some meaty discussion and make some decision, but that requires people to actually come having reflect on the topic at hand. But again, because people are so busy with having so many meetings in their day, they actually haven't spent the appropriate amount of time thinking about the topic come to the meeting. So the first half of the meeting are spent catching up, making sure that everybody's up to speed and having the same level of information. Then the second half of the meeting are spent just letting people thinking out loud for those who like to think out loud. And you end up leaving the meeting with not having progressed very much or not having the decision that you need to get made. So do yourself and your colleagues a favor, schedule less meetings so that everybody can actually have a little bit more time for reflection and thinking so that when they do show up at this meeting, you can actually move a lot faster. Now, doing a meeting audit should allow you to reclaim some of these time in your calendar, which then brings us to the second strategy, which is to actually schedule your focus time. So set up focus time in your calendar as if it's a meeting with yourself. Take advantage of recurring meeting functionality to protect these blocks into the future. Now, when you do this, try to schedule more focus time than you think you'll need. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's say you think you need 2 hours of focus time a day, do that, but then perhaps change a couple of those blocks to make them 3 hours instead of two to give yourself a little bit of a buffer. Now, once you've had these blocks scheduled, don't stop there. At least once a week, if not every day, make a habit of reviewing your to-do list, your schedule, and then designating specific tasks to specific section of those focus time blocks. So for example, if you have 2 hours blocked off, don't just leave it as 2 hours of generic focus time. Make sure you slot in specifically how you plan to use that time. So one extra bonus tip here is if you haven't already have a habit of this, try timing yourself doing different tasks so that you can get a better sense of how long it takes you to do different things. This allows you to become more accurate in setting aside the time that you need in the future. So for example, I know writing a blog post would likely take me about an hour to an hour and a half, and writing and setting up and sending a newsletter would take me about 2 hours. So when I go and designate these tasks in my calendar, I know how much time I need to give myself. Now, once you have reclaimed your time and schedule in those focus blocks, how do you protect that time when someone tried to schedule a meeting over it? First of all, put on your critical thinking hat and ask yourself if your presence and contribution at that meeting is absolutely necessary. Do you need to show up at that specific time to contribute, or is there no other way for you to share your thoughts and feedback? Do you need to be there for the whole length of the meeting? Can someone else attend on your behalf and share the thoughts and perspective that is needed? Or perhaps can the meeting be pushed back? If you are comparing the priority between the works that's being done in that meeting and the work that you've set aside to do in your focus time block, which one is more important? So if the work that's being done in the meeting is more important, then yeah, your focus time block can totally be adjusted. This is why we set aside those extra time. Maybe you can push this to one of those extra time block, or maybe you can just rethink your to-do list and the timeline of the stuff that you have on your plate. So whatever you decide to do, make sure that you are intentional, critical about it, and that it gets you closer to meeting your goals and priority. Now, if the thought of declining or pushing back on a meeting invite makes you feel really uncomfortable, then revisit your why. So for me, whenever I have to decline or push back on a meeting invite or a work request that interferes with one of my focus block, especially one that I've designated a pretty important task to, I remind myself of the version that I aspire to be, right? So it's somebody who approaches their work in a strategic, focused, and calm way. And that vision is the motivation that I need to do the things that I know I need to do, but feels very uncomfortable doing so, which is to say no and push back. So there you have it, folks. Protecting your focus time isn't just about penciling in a few hours on your calendar. It's about actually designing that time and prioritizing that time. If you've tried to have focus time in the past, let me know in the comments what your biggest challenge is when it comes to setting and protecting your focus time. Don't forget to hit the like button or share this if these tips resonate with you and you think it will be helpful for others. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe for more information on well-being and productivity. Until next time, take care.